Welcome back to the channel, The Unrelieved Realities, a place where hidden truths, unseen struggles, and untold human stories come alive in the quiet corners of the world. Before we begin, here's a brief overview of today's story. A discovery that rewritten an entire life. A relative lost to time. An identity shaken by one unexpected truth. A reunion no one saw coming. And the moment everything changed forever. At 6:41 a.m., the story begins with a soft buzz, a notification that shouldn't have mattered. A DNA testing app sending its automated morning update, the kind most people swipe away without a second thought. But this time, the message carried a line that froze the air around it: new close family match detected. He blinked once, twice, wondering if the screen was glitching. For 32 years he believed he was an only child, woven into a quiet, predictable life where family history was treated like a locked drawer no one ever opened. But the match displayed a word that didn't belong to his world: brother. At first it felt like a prank, an error, a strange algorithmic hiccup. He stared at the glowing name, unfamiliar, distant, almost fictional. Yet the percentage of shared DNA scrolled beneath it with the cold certainty of science. He set the phone face down, trying to steady the tremor in his breath, but denial clung to him like fog. By 7:10 a.m., he was pacing the narrow hallway of his apartment, replaying every childhood memory in rapid cuts. Birthdays with 2 small guest lists, questions his mother dodged with a soft smile, the silence that always hovered before the topic of his father emerged. Little details he once dismissed now returned as sharp fragments of a truth he had never been meant to see. By noon the shock had mellowed into something heavier. Curiosity. A dangerous kind, the kind that pulls you closer even when you know it may fracture the version of life you've lived so far. He opened the profile again, this time paying attention. The man's name, his hometown, the single photo attached. A face that seemed, in some eerie way, familiar. Not identical, not obvious. Just, echoing. A tilt of the jaw. A shadow in the eyes. A shape of a smile he'd seen in the mirror but never questioned. At 1:36 p.m., he sent a message, a careful, cautious line: "Hi, I think we share something important." He expected silence, or confusion, or a polite refusal. Instead, the reply came within minutes: "I've been searching for you for years." His pulse jumped. Years? Searching for what? Searching for who? He typed again, hands trembling now. The stranger responded with details too specific to dismiss. A mother's maiden name, a hospital, a faint memory of overheard arguments about a child who was better off elsewhere. And then the revelation that splintered the room around him: "I was adopted. I was told I had a younger brother I'd probably never meet." Suddenly, the missing pieces of his childhood rearranged like a puzzle snapping into place. The hushed phone calls, the old photograph in his mother's drawer with a toddler cut out of the frame, the unexplained tension that clouded every conversation about the past. Memories he'd buried now rose violently to the surface. He met his mother at 4:02 p.m., the sky outside already bruised with evening. She hesitated the moment she saw him, the way someone hesitates when they recognize a truth coming before it is spoken. When he showed her the DNA results, she didn't deny it. She didn't pretend. She simply sat down, exhaling decades of secrets in one trembling breath. She told him about a boy born 2 years before him, in a time when life was harsher and choices were made through fear rather than hope. A boy she was forced to let go. A boy she thought she'd never see again. A boy she never stopped thinking about. He left her house with a heaviness that wasn't anger, just the strange ache of realizing the world was wider and more complicated than he ever imagined. By 7:55 p.m., he stood outside a small cafe 2 towns away, his heart battering against his ribs. The man, his brother, had agreed to meet. The glow of streetlights cast long shadows across the pavement, and every passing car sounded too loud, too fast, too real. He stepped inside. For a moment, the world held its breath. Across the room sat the stranger with his face. Not perfectly, but undeniably. The same nervous rhythm in his foot. The same way of folding hands when unsure. 2 lives shaped by different families, different cities, different childhoods, yet tied by something deeper than stories or memories. They stared at each other for a long second that felt like an entire chapter being rewritten. Then the brother stood, and something in that movement, the hesitation, the hope, broke the last wall between them. Their conversation unfolded like a series of revelations. The older brother spoke of adoption records sealed in dusty government cabinets, of unanswered questions, of always feeling a piece missing without knowing why. The younger brother, the one who thought he'd lived a complete life, spoke of confusion and disbelief, of realizing his history had been written with invisible ink. They compared childhoods, timelines, fears, dreams, and at moments it felt as if they were trying to reclaim years stolen by silence. But the true twist, the one neither expected, arrived when the older brother reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded photograph. A picture of their mother as a young woman, holding a baby. The baby wasn't him, it was the brother he'd never known, captured in a moment his family had tried to erase. The photograph had traveled through decades, across foster homes and strange houses, surviving everything until this moment. He held it with shaking hands, realizing he was touching not just paper but the proof of a life that ran parallel to his without ever crossing. At 9:23 p.m., something shifted, acceptance. Not instant, not perfect, but real, a quiet recognition that the universe had opened a door neither of them knew existed. They talked until the cafe lights dimmed, until chairs were stacked and floor mops dragged across tiles. Two strangers walked in, two brothers walked out. Outside, under the thin glow of a flickering street lamp, the older brother said something simple, almost fragile: "I thought finding you would fill a void. But meeting you, it feels like the beginning of something." The younger brother didn't know what to say. Nothing felt adequate, so he nodded, feeling a weight lift from his chest. A weight he never knew he carried. By the time the night tipped into 11:40 p.m., the streets were quiet, the world reset, and two men walked away from a chance encounter that was never really chance at all, a fragment of a larger story the universe had been trying to return for decades. And in the silence that followed, one truth lingered: sometimes the family we lose doesn't stay lost forever. Sometimes they are found in the most unexpected moment, at the edge of a day like any other, reshaping every